Growing up with an interest in computers and technology, I have often been fascinated with how these machines that humans have created are able to communicate and interact with each other. Regardless of each computer's purpose or design, they can communicate with other devices by following a set of protocols or rules that establish a common meaning between each device. As you watch this presentation, your computer is sending communication packets across the internet to another computer. Each device agrees to follow a set of rules to establish communication, send the necessary information, and convert it into a format that is presentable to you. Unfortunately, sometimes the communication process breaks down. When this happens to computers, it is my job to find out what is wrong. When this happens to people, that's another story. I'll admit that I don't have the best interpersonal skills, although I have set out to find ways to improve upon that. Like computers, humans also have a set of rules that they follow when communicating, whether or not they are actively aware of it. In this presentation, I will discuss some of the communication problems that I faced in my professional career. I will also discuss some of the core aspects of the coordinated management of meaning theory, which attempts to explain the rules that drive human communication. I will then explore how this theory can be applied to solve communication issues that I and other IT professionals experience. One of the most common problems that I have noticed at work is poor communication between engineers and customers. This problem is prevalent within smaller managed service providers, or MSPs. What is an MSP? A managed service provider is a company that remotely manages a customer's IT infrastructure and systems, typically through the offering of subscription services. As is the case with many industries, there are both large and small MSPs. Larger companies have the structure and resources to create positions with clearly defined roles, but technicians and engineers working for smaller MSPs may find themselves wearing many hats. They may often be responsible for communicating directly with customers. Most IT professionals are highly skilled and constantly trained to keep up with the latest technologies. However, their interpersonal skills can often be overlooked and underdeveloped. When interpersonal skills are lacking, communication between engineers and customers can often lead to frustration for both parties. In a recent survey conducted by Teate, 95% of customers have switched MSPs due to being unhappy with the services they receive. Only 5% reported switching because of price. Of the companies that switched MSPs, 69% reported that a poor service experience was the deciding factor. Maintaining customer satisfaction is paramount to smaller MSPs that do not have the same resources to compete with larger companies. So how can MSPs train engineers to discuss technology with customers in a relatable way? The coordinated management of meaning theory was developed in the 1970s by W. Barnett Pierce and Vernon Cronin. They initially set out to discover what people were doing when they communicated and why they would do it. Over the years, this theory has been applied to a variety of different settings to analyze how social interactions construct our reality. If you stop to think about it, each time we communicate, there is an underlying reason for how and why we communicate the way that we do, which can depend on factors such as who we are interacting with, the setting we are in, and our past experiences. Each communication creates a new experience that helps shape future interactions, creating a feedback loop of meaning and action. Remember when I mentioned that humans follow a set of rules when they communicate? According to the CMM theory, rules are what dictate how we ascribe meaning and take action. If someone smiles at me, does that mean they are happy to see me, or do I just look funny? Should I smile back or go check a mirror? Rules establish how we interpret verbal and nonverbal communication, and how we act or respond in return. Pierce and Cronin determined that meaning and action are the two fundamental aspects of communication, and each are shaped by the subjective experiences of the communicator and their perceived experiences of the receiver. Everyone ascribes meaning based on their personal life experiences and acts based on those meanings. Actions affect future interpretations of meaning, therefore creating a loop or system of meaning and action. Coordination occurs when two or more communicators organize these meaning and action loops into patterns that they each understand. These experiences form stories. Storytelling is a method to coherently frame our collective experiences. Meaning and action loops, coordination, and storytelling are the three main components of CMM theory. The capacity for organizational change lies in the ability of initiating and sustaining desired patterns of communication. If the goal is to change the conversation and the quality of conversation, it is therefore important to pay more attention to the patterns of communication. After learning about the CMM theory, I examined my own patterns of communication and recognized that in many interactions with customers, my motivations were, to be quite honest, selfish. A speaker is often subconsciously trying to get the listener to comply with his or her instructions. Instead of focusing on the customer's needs, I instead wanted to focus on my own personal desires to learn and troubleshoot problems. I have often found that fixing a technical problem is a lot like solving a puzzle. It is both stimulating and rewarding. My meaning and action loops were often driven by the desire to be left alone to solve my puzzles. However, as a professional, I am part of a team of engineers that is working together to keep our company profitable and to make our job sustainable. Our job as MSP professionals is to coordinate with the customer to provide excellent service. Using techniques of the CMM theory, we can recognize the rules that drive our customers' meaning and action loops as well. First, we can determine how their business needs might affect the way they interpret and act on the information we provided them. Are they under pressure to meet a deadline, or will the implementation of a new technology impact their ability to perform? Second, we can evaluate how we present information to the customer. Is the information provided in a way that they can understand and appreciate, or is it too technical and full of jargon? Articulating knowledge in a way that can be easily understood is fundamental to cumulative learning. Next, we can evaluate how past service experiences may affect how customers interact with us. Acknowledging prior mistakes and shortcomings can go a long way towards bridging divides and improving relationships. Finally, making sure to keep customers in the loop by involving them in key discussions and processes that affect their businesses will show that we care about their success and empathize with their needs and concerns. As Phil Arthington states, it is argued that we actively create our social worlds through communication rather than speaking merely to transmit information. What people know to be true is shaped through their experiences, and those experiences are largely shaped by conversation. By developing the CMM theory, W. Barnett Pierce and Vernon Cronin endeavored to create a better world. They have succeeded by fundamentally changing the way people think about communication. By recognizing the rules of action and meaning that affect how we communicate, we can change the feedback loops that shape our interactions. We can actively play a part in shaping our own social worlds and those of the people we communicate with. Organizations are made up of people from different backgrounds, ages, ethnicities, genders, and lifestyles. Only through the act of communication can people create bonds with one another. Coordination allows people within organizations to create a unique culture, establish relationships with their clients, and to collectively grow and prosper. The CMM theory has many practical applications and a track record of improving coordination between diverse groups within many different organizations. By understanding the rules of communication, we can all become more effective communicators. Thank you for watching.